to the cloud. Hello, I'm Jennifer Keller, the program coordinator at the Westport Library. During this time of enforced isolation, many of us aren't getting to the supermarket as often as we used to. There are ways to store groceries, and one is by foraging. Today, Becky Newman from Place is going to share some foraging tips and edibles with us so you can find these in your own backyard. Welcome, Becky.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. Before I get started on the edibles that I found on my walk this morning at 7:30, I just want to put a couple of tips out there before we talk about what is actually edible. When you are collecting edibles, make sure you know the area that you're in. You want to make sure that there hasn't been herbicides and pesticides put down because they're poisonous to us as well as what's on the plant. So you want to make sure you're doing it in a safe place that is chemical free. You also want to make sure that you actually know what the plant is. Some of the plants have plants that look very similar. So just be cautious and don't be like, oh, I think that looks like what she had, and eat it, because there are some similar. So we will not talk anything about mushrooms because all the mushrooms look similar. But I'm going to start. So this morning I did go for a walk, and one of the things that I found was onion grass. I don't know if you guys can actually see it. It smells like onions and can be used basically in any form that onion can be used. You can cut it up and chop it and use it as chives or leeks. You can use it as just a spice or an herb to help it flavoring, or you can actually saute it and eat it just as it is as a vegetable. And it grows almost anywhere, has a bulb at the bottom that you can eat as well. So one thing that'll help you get spice and everything out of that. Another item that I found was purple nettle. I'm gonna pull that up so you guys can kind of see it. Purple dead nettle. It also grows almost anywhere. It can be used just like any green. You can use it as a garnish. It's a member of the mint family, but not actually very minty. A lot of people like to put it in smoothies because it has lots of nutritional value. Not a whole lot of flavor, but grows almost everywhere. I have some tips. So another one that not everyone has in their backyard, and I'm not sure if you guys know what this plant is just by looking at it because it's not missing its flower. Yeah, Jennifer's shaking her head no. It actually comes from a wetland. I live next to a marsh. So this is the first stalks, the fresh stalks of a cattail plant. And believe it or not, cattails are all edible. The roots are edible, the stems are edible, and even that flowery cone is edible. The cone, when it has its pollen, the pollen can be used as a flower substitute, which is super helpful. But when it is in flower, you can also eat it like corn on the cob. The stems actually you can eat raw, and they taste like cucumbers, and you can actually eat the roots as well. So that is actually a pretty cool plant that you can eat all the time and has lots of flavor. Again, though, be careful because you want to make sure you get all the mud off of the roots and that you don't lose your shoes when you go collecting cattails. This one is not in bloom yet, but it is the clover, a little wilty after our walk this morning. Without the flower, you can eat the leaves as well as the flower. The leaves don't have much flavor. The flowers have more flavor, but it's more of a survival food with little flavor. I grew up eating the flowers of clover because, as I read earlier, you know, my mom did it and my bunnies liked it. So they have a sweet flavor to them, but not a whole lot of flavor to them. This plant does not have the bloom on it yet. It's starting to bloom right here. This is garlic mustard. It is another invasive that is growing in our community. You can actually deep fry the flowers, and they're supposed to be very good. You can saute the leaves and make a side dish, kind of like you can do with the onion grass, or you can add the stems and the leaves to the to a salad. I did not pull it from the root. Part of the reason is I do not want it growing more in my yard because it is invasive. And if you disturb the roots, it picks up all the seeds that the flowers dropped. I don't want more of it, so I left the roots there. But you can actually eat the roots. The roots are more spicy, more like a horseradish. So again, a different flavor coming from multiple plants. This is another invasive that I'm working on eradicating from my yard. I grabbed one that still had berries on it and one that did not. This is Japanese barberry. It was used a lot in landscaping yards. I had it around my koi pond, which worked great to keep predators away from the koi, but not so great for our native pollinators. You can take the leaves and add them to salad, just adds another layer of flavor to them. But the berries are actually also edible. You can eat the berries. If you eat them in the fall, they're tart, a little bit better, but you can make muffins and pancakes out of them. The longer you wait in the season, the sweeter they get. So actually, these are last year's berries, so they're relatively sweet. And if you eat them before they drop to the ground, you're going to get less invasives in your yard. Sorry, guys, they're droopy from my early walk. This guy right here is mugwort, another invasive. It's been used for an herb in soups or meat dishes. You can actually boil it to make tea as well. You can cook the leaves, saute it as a veggie, kind of like the same thing with the onion grass or the cattails or garlic mustard. So a lot of salady-like items. And then I have one last one that I was able to pick. I have, and it had the two parts. Sorry, guys. So I have dandelion greens and dandelion flowers. You can eat the greens just like a salad. You can saute them, stir fry them. The flowers are sweet and crunchy. You can deep fry them as well. You can also, for adults out there, you can make dandelion wine. If you're not into making wine, you can make a syrup, kind of like maple syrup, that you can put on pancakes. So, and I know a lot of us have these growing in our yard if we are not using pesticides, herbicides. My lawn isn't quite there yet, but I leave them all for our pollinators out there. Lots of other wild edibles growing in our yards that we don't think of. Some of them just aren't up yet in my yard. There's fiddleheads, there's wild violets, there's ramps. So the list is long. There's wineberries and blackberries. They're just not here yet. So those are just a few plants that you can find in your yard. Again, before you eat anything, make sure it came from a safe area and make sure you wash them and know what you're taking.
Thank you so much, Becky. That was fabulous. And I have tried the garlic mustard, so, and lived to tell the tale, so I'm proud of that.
Well, and I have to say garlic mustard pesto is really good, actually. But you mix it with other things. So.
Maybe I'll make some tonight.
There you go.
So, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So for those of you at home, you can visit earthplace.org for more nature videos from that fabulous nonprofit in Westport, and for more lifestyle changing videos and information about the Westport Library. Remember to visit library.org. Have a great day.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.